Hi, boys and girls. It's Mrs. Vasquez, and we're going to be starting our writing this week. So I created a PowerPoint for you, Writing Successfully with a Prompt, and you're going to notice that it's very similar to everything that we've learned in class so far this year. Okay, first things first, you need your writing materials. So this link that I've included right here will take you directly to your writing packet. I'm not going to tell you the mode. I'm not going to tell you what you're writing about because I want you to do the reading and I want you to do the learning. Okay, so again, this link right here will take you to your writing materials. Please go ahead and pause the video. Go ahead and have a look at your writing packet. I know maybe some of you will not be able to print it out. If you can't, that's okay. Don't worry about it. You could just use the computer to show you on screen. However, if you can print this out, I recommend that you do because there's a lot of information that you can get from having the copy in your hand rather than having it on the computer. So go ahead and take a look at your writing materials first. Okay, so at this point, you should have looked at your writing materials before moving on to this screen. So we're going to start off writing successfully with a prompt. The first thing we need to do is flip the page, flip the page, flip that page. Hopefully you did that. Hopefully you went to the directions first because we can't write if we don't know what we're writing about. So I'm going to go through my PowerPoint and I have modeled every single thing for you and took pictures of it so that you can see what I did. So if you haven't done it, you can go back and do it yourself. So I'm going to be modeling with grasshoppers. And remember this, boys and girls, this is our grasshoppers helpful or are they harmful? Remember, we had to make a choice. And when I was unpacking my prompt, I noticed that I had to give my opinion. And what's the first word that should come to your mind? Choice. We had to choose either helpful or harmful. Or being the key word here, or means one. So you get to choose one side. You can't write about helpful and harmful. You only get to write one side. But I'm not ready to make my decision yet because I haven't read the text. I'll decide after I read the text. So I know my mode of writing is opinion. I know that my topic that I'm writing about is grasshoppers, and my focus, which I'm zooming my brain in on, is are grasshoppers helpful or harmful? So I really unpacked this prompt very well. I made sure I knew what I was writing about. I know that I'm going to be ready to make a choice, and I know that I'm writing about are grasshoppers helpful or harmful. I will soon find out what my opinion will be. Okay, so now it's time to read and code the text. So that's what I did. I read and I coded. Look at my model. Notice that not every single thing is coded. Not every single thing is underlined. I'm only underlining keywords and phrases, key information that will help me answer the prompt. Basically, we're coding to collect text evidence. It's the only reason we're doing that, obviously, and then other than gaining information about grasshoppers. So notice what I did here. I only coded with HE for helpful, HA for harmful. Remember, I haven't made my choice yet, so I'm collecting information on both. And then I'm going to decide what is my opinion. Are they helpful or are they harmful? Okay, I read through the text and now I'm ready to make a quick list of the evidence that I coded because this is how I'm going to decide what my main ideas are going to be. This is how I'm going to decide what my opinion is. So under helpful, I listed most of the text. Whoops, let me go back. I listed my helpful coding that I made on my text. So here's everything that I listed for helpful, and here's everything that I listed for harmful. Okay, so it was easy peasy for me. When I looked at my list, it became so clear that there's a lot more stronger evidence to support that grasshoppers are helpful, HE. So in my opinion, grasshoppers are helpful. I'm going to be able to prove that easier. Why didn't I choose harmful? Because look at what I collected. To me, this is not strong enough to support that grasshoppers are harmful. So I decided to go with helpful, and I even circled helpful, and I put over here grasshoppers helpful for my brain so I remember. Then I looked at my list and said, okay, now I have to come up with my two main ideas. I am not going to choose something off of this list to be my main idea. Why? Because think about what happened in class when we did that. we chose something from this list to be our main ideas, and we stated our main ideas. In my opinion, grasshoppers return nutrients to the earth. In the text, grasshoppers return nutrients to the earth. Do you see how we're repeating ourselves? No, that cannot happen. We have to make sure that we're reading our coding, our evidence here, and coming up with a bigger idea. What's the bigger picture that I'm learning from return nutrients to the earth and less time and resources to raise grasshoppers? When I looked at these two, it became clear to me that the big picture there is that grasshoppers are good for the environment. So that became one of my main ideas. How do I know they're good for the environment? Number one, because they return nutrients to the earth. Number two, because there's less time and resources to raise grasshoppers. Notice also that I wrote down which texts that I got this information from so that I don't have to go back and look for it when I'm writing. Okay, so then I was looking at more of my coding, more of my list, and I noticed that it said that grasshoppers are nutritious to eat, but they also create jobs. Okay, so thinking of the bigger picture here. Wait, humans need nutrition, and I know that humans need jobs. So these two pieces of information here prove that they are helpful to humans. How are grasshoppers helpful to humans? Because they are nutritious to eat and because they create jobs. So that's how I got my two main ideas right here, by looking at my list and coming up with a big picture. After I was finished getting my main ideas, then my plan became quick because I already had the information I needed to plan. So thinking about my components for the beginning, my middle, my end. You know, what happens if we're home and we forget about what components need to go in the beginning, middle, and end? Well, I've linked here for you your resources for writing. So if you click these two links here, you will get your checklist and you will get your anchor chart. So both of those are here. Now, I know some of us have different checklists than others. Go by what your checklist said in class. I've uploaded two here, but you guys know some of you had differentiated checklists and anchor charts. That's okay. Use those differentiated anchor charts. I've just uploaded these here, but that doesn't mean if you had a different one, you can't use that one anymore. So go ahead and use the one you had in class. All right, so my plan, I put my two main ideas in the middle and I've circled them so you could see. I put my text evidence so that you can see. So look, for good for the environment, return nutrients to the earth, less time and resources. I listed where I got them from. Then elaboration and OT. Don't forget that elaboration. That was something we were working on before we left for spring break. Elaboration. Why did you choose that piece of text evidence? Why is that text evidence important? Then go on and give me your OT. And then, of course, my wrap up. Okay, so again, I'm not going to go too much further into that. Here are your anchor chart and checklist. Click on them, use your resources, and get that plan done. It shouldn't take you any more than 20 minutes. If it's taking you more than 20 minutes, then that's a sign that maybe you didn't understand the text, or maybe your main ideas are just not connecting to the prompt the way they should. So you've really got to think hard. And if you need to go back and replay my slides and replay this video to hear it again, please go ahead and do that. Okay, so now I've done all this great thinking. Now I'm going to use this plan to help me write. You've done all that great thinking, guys. Make sure that you don't just toss your plan to the side and start writing about grasshoppers. No, use that plan. Use each piece of information to help you write. So grasshoppers helpful, good for the environment, helpful to humans, 2 to 3 sentences of OT. Boom. Let's see if I have all of that in my beginning. I'm going to read it to you. Imagine a sweaty summer day and your grumbling tummy is craving a tasty, crunchy treat. You reach in your pantry and pull out a delicious snack and grab a handful of crispy deliciousness and shove it in your mouth. Craving satisfied. As you finally look at the snack, you realize that you just ate a fistful of grasshoppers. Some people may think that eating grasshoppers will make them sick, but you might be surprised to find out that it's quite the opposite. In my opinion, grasshoppers can be helpful. First, they are good for our environment, and also grasshoppers are beneficial to humans. So are you ready to devour that fistful of grasshoppers yet? You might be tempted after reading how useful these little critters can be. All of these components, boys and girls, are in here. How do I know that? Because as I was finished writing my, or restating my prompt, as I wrote down my 2 main ideas and my 2 to 3 sentences of OT, I checked it off. So I can't forget if I'm checking it off. I expect you to do the same thing. All right, here's my middle. Here's one of my middles. I'll let you pause the video and you can go ahead and you can read one of my middles. Look to see that all of my components were included in there. I'm not going to read it to you. You can go ahead and do that on your own. Okay, and then finally, you're going to revise and edit your work. Most important part as far as I'm concerned, because even the most brilliant writer, if they don't go back and make sure that their writing is going to make sense to the reader, well, then that's just not good. So you have to revise and edit. And as you can see here, there's evidence of me revising and editing. You don't have to use a colored pen or pencil or whatever it is. You can just use a pencil and an eraser, and that's fine. But when I'm revising and editing my work, I read like a robot, and this is what it sounds like. Imagine a sweaty summer day, and your grumbling tummy is craving a tasty, crunchy treat. I sound like a robot. This is the only time you're allowed to read like that, is while you're revising and editing, because we slow down our reading. We slow our brains down too. Some of us like to read what we think is there, and then when your readers read it, they go, wait a minute, that's not what it says. So please slow down, tap each word as you're revising and editing. Make sure your spelling, punctuation, capitalization is all there. Make sure that your sentences and your grammar, make sure it all makes sense. Okay, so that takes us to the end of the video, and we are going to submit this work by Friday. So again, this work is due by Friday, everyone. You have to send it to me by Friday. There are 2 ways that you can send it to me. You can write on a piece of paper, take a picture of it and send it to me. You can type it up in Edsby if you want to and send it to me. But either way, I will accept any way to get me the work. But remember, it's due on Friday. So you have a whole week to do this. So my learners that need just a little bit of extra time, maybe you need to take a day or 2 on one step. That's fine. I'm okay if you do that. Maybe some of you that work a little bit quicker, you want to breeze through this very carefully, of course, and you can send it to me Thursday if you'd like. That's fine. But boys and girls, everybody needs to have it handed in by Friday. So take your time, spend as much time as you need on each step, whatever works for you. But on Friday, it is due to me. Okay, boys and girls, so good luck with your writing. I can't wait to see it, and I will see you again next week for more writing, and feel free to watch this video as many times as you need. Good luck.